Cheers, guys. Epic's 911 on
Gaming Friday. And as it might be the last one, bro, you and I are going to have to make sure that we do this really proper tonight. And we're going to.
Indeed. Unfortunately, guys, the last VR news on a Gaming Friday. Before I move, it's going to suck without my buddy Exity here on the Gaming Fridays. We're going to do it remotely.
It's still going to rock.
But it's still going to rock.
We're going to do everything we can to make it enjoyable.
Absolutely. But with that said, yeah, you guys are here for VR news. So that's what we're going to jump into. Starting with this first story, this from Road to VR on the top 5 VR racing games for both the Rift and the Vive. Now, in the Q&A video, I went over my top 3 racing games, and I've talked about it in the past. But basically, Project Cars, Assetto, and Dirt Rally. Those are my favorite top 3. So let's look at the staff from Road to VR. What are the games they are into? The first one, Race Room Racing. Again, a Rift and Vive game. This January 2017, it got support for both Vive and Rift VR. And one of the things that it's touted for is fantastic AI and audio. So with that said, never even tried it, but now that I'm aware of this, I'll probably give it a shot when it's on a Steam sale or Oculus sale. Next game, Project Cars, of course, for Vive and Rift. This one is on my list. Definitely a demanding game. Now, in this article, they mention having to have a 1070 GTX or higher to play it acceptably, and I'd agree completely. On my 1080, it's playable. Not at max, though. Probably medium to high is where I kind of get it with an i7. The R9 290 that Exity is on there behind me, not a chance in hell. Can it run Project Cars, unfortunately. Third game on their list, Assetto Corsa. Or Assetto Corsa, rather. This is a game that had Rift support, and Vive users were basically left to play it on Revive. There was no official Vive support. It does now have OpenVR support, which makes it a lot more playable for Vive users. Fourth, we've got iRacing, and what's kept this game really going is its updates. The updates as of late have been really good and adding a lot of functionality features to the game. Similar to this last one, which is Live for Speed, started out back in 2002, so this thing has been around for a long time. And yeah, according to them, rounds out their top 5. Now, they did give honorable mention to 2 games I've talked about in the last 2 weeks, Dirt Rally and R-Factor 2. Haven't played R-Factor 2, but Dirt Rally, I said it just a few minutes ago, in my top 3. Now, it's a game with a specific play style that you have to enjoy, even if you're a car sim person, because it's based on rally racing. And I'm not accusing the authors of being biased against that, but maybe it just wasn't their cup of tea. I personally love rally. I love the idea of a driver and a navigator working in tandem to navigate a course that has, you know, hairpin turns that you've got to negotiate at specific speeds. So yeah, for me, rally racing is awesome. Top 3 game. But understandable for these guys. And then, of course, R-Factor 2. Haven't tried that yet, but it's on my list. Next up, Zuckerberg announcing that VR is not going to be a big part of our business at Facebook for a while. Now, some people are shocked about this today. Absolutely no reason to be shocked, because this is nothing new. This is exactly just an echo of what Mark said at the Connect 2015 event. He mentioned there 5 to 10 year roadmap. When we talked about it a few months ago, when there was a little bit of disappointment about the growth of VR not living up to, you know, some media expectations, he parroted again that it was a 5 to 10 year plan that they were announcing. So yeah, nothing surprising for me here. Should be nothing surprising for anyone, with those being factual statements he's already talked about within the last year. Next up, PC Gamer show is going to return to 2017's E3, and it's going to have increased VR content. Now, according to Tim Clark, who's their global editor-in-chief, he said, "We're delighted to host another event that will give PC gaming the presence at E3 it deserves. Since its inception, the PC gaming show's goal has been to demonstrate the depth and breadth of creativity on the platform, and now with this surge in VR gaming the last year, and we just talked about these guys a few days ago saying, you know, they're not going to cover indie games, but the odd bigger game they are going to cover. So it's neat for them to acknowledge that at least, and hopefully at E3, you know, we get to see Fallout VR among some others, because that's a game I really want to get playing. Next up, Bionics Rift-style Mantis PlayStation VR headphones. Now, these, of course, are plucked almost as an identical copycat to the Rift headphones. The only difference being these are clip-on and done with the PlayStation VR aesthetics and color scheme in mind. So if you look at it, the black and white, it definitely works for PlayStation. They've also mentioned Bionic has that they are fully supporting 360-degree audio. So opting for these is not going to, you know, make you have to reach for your regular headphones whenever you want to have 360-degree audio. They will be able to deliver that. They're going to be released for retail later this year, $49.99 US. Next up, Oculus finds a new head of computer vision in Amir Frenkel. Now, we mentioned the exodus of the position by Dov Katz. We didn't say why. This one passed me by back in late December, apparently charged with some offenses and was then let go by the company. A replacement now announced is for that position and that employee, Amir Frenkel. Now, Amir joined Oculus parent company Facebook as their director of engineering back in 2016. So just a month before the whole Dove thing happened, and is now jumping on board the Oculus team as head of computer vision. Past work for Amir includes being the head of the wearables engineering at Google and director of software at Amazon's Lab 126. So definitely got the resume. Interesting to see what Amir's going to be able to contribute. All right, next and last story, the VR reality, or the VR content business rather, that isn't. What I liked about this is it's one of those mainstream articles. This one from the Huffington Post, but talks about VR experience kind of outside the industry. And whenever these are mentioned, these are the ones that can do a lot of harm, or marketing-wise, they can do some good. And I think this falls into the latter. So author of this article, Seth Chachner, was part of a private forum of about 50 invitees to a studio 18 months ago. And a similar meetup by the same company just within the last couple of weeks. And remarkable difference, according to Seth. Before, you know, there were audio technologies, there were VR people, the major players, Oculus, Magic Leap, all of them there. Last week, however, so this is 18 months later, a much larger and more diverse group. Attendees spanning Amazon studios, real estate professionals, reporters, venture capitalists. Lunch lines were longer, entertainment lines longer, and gamers still probably the most sophisticated group of the bunch. But that's good to see, because that's recognition of VR's growth still recently based on participation in a past event. So that's good to hear. They didn't specify what event this was, just referring to it as a private forum. Regardless, still good to hear. All right, guys, that is it for the news on this Friday, Gaming Night Friday. Last one with my buddy Exity, which, sorry, bro, but it sucks.
We're going to do it right tonight no matter what.
We are going to do it right no matter what. Guys, hopefully you do as well and have a absolute kick-ass weekend. Cheers, guys.
Amen.